Something out of nothing, the culture grew from breaks. B-boys with fat laces helping DJs carry crates. 12 inches with the name covered up, 45 black with tape. Needle dropping on the get down part on the one, never late. Moonwalk look like skates, time is infinite like the 8. Built to destroy the devil's world, God body at the gate. In God we trust, the dollars we lust, catching crumbs off the cake. Now we bop to a beat on walls of concrete in Northern State. It was 88, we was victims of a scheme. It was all just a dream, but now my homie is a fiend. We live for the culture, but we kill for the cream. Trying to make the street light up, stay on your toes, Billie Jean.
Now how can you justify what you've taken culturally? You love to lie, to hide the truth. Do you really think you're me? Really think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me?
It's like hip to the hibbit, flow liquid like exhibit. It'll create the culture with every breath as I live it. They try to prohibit, but I'm the master to pivot. No gimmicks on point like a digit. I'm like Malcolm, ready to rock it. Get your hand out my pocket. Everybody the gatekeeper, but y'all forgot to lock it. Swear by culture freedom, I got more vice than Tubbs and Crockett. Now my boy Elroy, out to space like space's rockets. Truth be told, we was crushed from the cold. Niggas getting high off the dust from Sugar Hill. Now the truth gets sold with strippers on the pole. The light, just with rappers for the thrill. Get the rush from off one pill with flashes on the wheels. Singing white lines with my brothers and folding bills. Slinging white dimes when Uncle Joe wrote that bill. Around 94, fucking around with Hillary and Bill.
How can you justify what you've taken culturally? You love to lie, to hide the truth. Do you really think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me?
It was go and tell. Now y'all go and tell. Hop on the gram, look, show and tell. No ethics and no codes, just cut the pie a la mode. Spinning red whites now light the block like a strobe. Behold, the pale horse that he rode. Here to bring death with guns to unload. Conspiracy to conspire, there's a theory on the wire. When Cohen is a priest whose doctrine is the liar. Here to rob the hood, I keep it tucked like the friar. Grew into a man following rappers I admire. No more b-boys in the cypher, no more DJs catching breaks. And everybody in the trap with 45s wrapped in tape. The culture has been raped, pimped out, and straight flooded. Just like the Bronx in the 70s, everything gutted. Trusted, rusted, busted and disgusted. We should've shut it down when Chuck said not to trust it.
How can you justify what you've taken culturally? You love to lie, to hide the truth. Do you really think you're me? Really think you're me? Really think you're me? Think you're, oh yeah. Think that you can do what I think that you can do what I do. You think that you can do what I do. You think that you can do what I do. Tell me, do you think you're me? Tell me, do you think you're me?
Yeah.
You know you ain't me.
What up, y'all? That was Stolen Art by myself, Hakim Green, featuring the legendary Carl Thomas, produced by legendary Ron Lawrence. I chose that particular song for this show because, you know, we have people who do this shit for the business side, which is cool, and we appreciate that. We like making money. We have others who are keepers of the art who do this for the art form. And, you know, our guest today, somebody very influential on Channel Live, the crew, the hieroglyphics, of course. Hyro, you know about those folks. And when they hit back in the early 90s, this is before Channel Live dropped their project, it just confirmed what we already knew about the art of emceeing. And these brothers did it. did it as well or better than most of the folks at that time. And I salute this man right here, MC Casual. My dude. Peace to the God.
Peace, you can hear me?
Oh, I can hear you fine, live and direct. No
What's
doubt.
up? What's up with it? Peace. Thanks for having me, family.
Bro, man. So, this is a new show, the HAKIM Green Show. People who follow me know I do different things. Got Madism Sports, OSNSR with Ron Lawrence, had Madism TV. But this right here is a new venture. I'm on my second episode. This is actually the first official episode with branding and logo and all that other good stuff. So to have you, jump this off with me, brother, is an honor, a privilege. Like I said earlier, man, you have no idea how influential you are on, Channel Live, myself, Tuffy, my crew of friends at that time in my life. You guys added confirmation, validation for a certain lifestyle in the culture,
We think that's much appreciated, man.
Yeah, when you think of rap music, what I'm saying, you think of hip hop, the gangster element kind of dominates. And though it's a time and place for everything, we appreciate when folks, be it, from a gangster lifestyle or more progressive, shall we say, lifestyle, represents the mic the right way. And salute to you. So I want to get right into it, man. Tell the folks exactly where you're from, born and raised, so they know, your particular history.
Born and raised in Oakland, California. Casual, the rap guy, Hieroglyphics crew. Been banging it for a minute. I'm saying, even before, we came out 93, that's when we got introduced to hip hop. But in those parts, Oakland, California, they knew me since about the 6th grade as Fatso. I was rapping as Fatso. Then about the 8th grade, I was Jammin' J. And then at about the 10th, 11th grade, I thought Casual was cool, and I rocked that ever since. So it's Oakland, California, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Now you said, when you first dropped in 93, or when the crew first dropped in 93, I tend to look at the music business and then I look at hip hop culture. So when you say you was rhyming in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, junior high school, that was before the music business side, right? Yeah. So just like that experience coming up, I don't mean to date you, but give folks a time frame of when that was happening, so folks understand what was going on in the world of hip hop outside of New York City, tri-state area.
About 84 to 89, I think I heard Big Daddy Kane. He hit about 89, huh?
Yeah, about 89.
88. Well, on the West Coast, I think that Ain't No Half Step and stuff was 88, 89. So Too Short was 85. And I think the breaking was just playing out at about 84, 85. It was playing out a little bit, it was going into something different, you know what I mean? And so we was looking for something new to do. You know what I'm saying? I just got on my hip hop, but who can say it's a whole different culture, and honestly, we had to look. So you remember how music used to spread in the 80s?
Yeah, through cassette.
When you used to have family members who lived in different locations who could put you up on other music and stuff. Well, it would take a long time for us to get music from the East Coast, right? And so we just sat around honing our own thing, listening to artists like Too Short.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Even E40 was earlier than people know of him. He had E40 in the clip. And we was just listening to that, but the music I was hearing from the East Coast, it pushed the envelope on the lyricism a bit more, so I kind of gravitated to that. But you can imagine the closest, because since there ain't no movies too much about Oakland, you could probably take a movie like Boys in the Hood or something from the West Coast and imagine throwing a whole hip-hop plot in the middle of all that ruckus that's going on. You know what I'm talking about? Absolutely. And that's a good way I could give people an explanation of how it was while we were trying to do our hip-hop thing in the middle of Oakland, you know?
Yeah. So it's I said in terms of validation, when you guys drop, because the whole conscious, extra lyrical era was kind of fading away. It became more, gangster oriented, sex oriented, shock value oriented, And then, first with 93 Till Infinity. And then when you drop That's How It Is, and we got to really appreciate the Hyro crew as a collective, it was reminiscent of a Native Tongue type of feel, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where I gravitated toward more or less, like the Native Tongue, Latifah, Tribe, De La, that whole thing. And then when it became more like gangster, it was like we was kind of losing grip. So when folks like you guys and Pharcyde came, it was like, and then to hear like Dell was a contributor on the Ice Cube project, America's Most Wanted, that kind of was like, like West Coast is really putting it down, not just, gangster, but on some lyrical shit. And we appreciated that shit wholeheartedly, especially coming from y'all. Now, there's a difference between the Bay Area and LA. And I want my viewership to understand, we say the West Coast, that's like saying New York to Atlanta. You describe that difference.
Yeah, you're right. Shout out to my Southern California brothers, and it's all one West Coast thing. But if I want to hit LA, it's a 400-mile trip. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And so you imagine how much culture is separated by 400 miles to where y'all still on it like that because y'all communicating up and down the coast. But is a lot of difference. For instance, there had never been no Crips and Blood gangbanging in Oakland. Mm-hmm. That just wasn't that. Maybe they started doing color banging in the Mexican culture, but as far as Black people was concerned, we just never grabbed it. That was just a cultural nuance that, we wasn't getting with that. Since the 80s, even when there was colors and everything. And so, and you could kind of hear, if you listen to the nuances in the slang, the North Bay would say for sheezy, and and down south, not down south, but in LA they'll say for shizzle. Wow. You see what I'm saying? It's just a little different, and you would notice I never noticed that. But we said for sheezy, and they say for shizzle, and so it's just little nuances like that. But when it came down to the hip hop scene, they was closer to Hollywood. See what I'm saying? So even though Hollywood is for motion picture, it gave us it just gave us the feeling in the Bay Area that LA was closer to the ability to be able to get on in the music industry. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about the movie Breaking, Ice-T, of course, Shabba-Doo and Turbo. Like that whole thing was popping off. I guess everybody kind of lumped the Bay Area into that, and you saying, it was actually a lot different.
It was a lot different, and we was looking towards even those films. Like you would probably have somebody in the Bay like, yo, I'm about to move to LA for my career. It would be that type of thing after seeing a Breaking or all those movies that was coming up out of there. It was one earlier than Breaking, though. What was that first one you said? It had Ice-T in it.
That was Breaking.
Okay, well, I remember
that was Breaking. As you had, B Street, of course, was the New York movie. Then after
that was the New York one. Yeah.
Breaking, where you had the little white girl from the from the upper class, whatever. She get into the hood and they show her, what's happening. You had Shabba-Doo, Turbo. That was Breaking.
Okay.
Breaking one.
They had two Breakings. Breaking two, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe you had Colors, of course, later, which was everybody know the song from Ice-T. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, you know what? Just to make a note on what you said about the lyricism, we was just straight up inspired by East Coast rappers, straight up, and we wanted y'all to know that we had bars. You feel me? That was our whole goal. We was like, man, they think we ain't got bars out here because of all the music, all this gangster stuff. They think don't nobody like real hip hop in Oakland. So we was like, man, we coming with bars when we drop and nothing else. You know what I'm saying?
So since you're there with it, because you had the whole controversy with MC Hammer, Run DMC, MC LL, MC Hammer, third base. Like Hammer was kind of representative of Bay Area hip hop and like the impact and the record sales and what he did on tour, like was undeniable.
Yeah, it was.
But it's like there was that sentiment that East Coast felt that the Bay Area wasn't spitting the real hip hop, didn't have the real lyrics going on.
Well, yeah, that was something we was fighting against too, because everybody thought the Bay was all hammered out. You know what I'm saying? And so, to keep it real, the attacks on MC Hammer was coming from the East Coast, and us at his hometown, we didn't side with him, right? You know, we was taking them like I definitely listened to LL. I was like, yeah, that's whack. You know what I mean? And I didn't even be like, but he from around the corner and none of that. Right. I just was like, okay, the East Coast tell us what the rules of hip hop are. You ain't accepted. You tried your shot and they're not accepting you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was looking at it as a youngster. And a lot of us even, I think Too Short might have had a little riff with Hammer at a time. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's crazy.
But it was a castigation that was going on because he reached a heights of success that nobody had ever even heard of.
Right. So, you know, I think like the conversation between what the industry's doing and what the culture's doing, it gets convoluted. People got kind of mix it up and they're talking about, you know, apples and oranges. You know, I say generally when people ask me what do I feel about hip hop, I said, well, you mean the rap business or you mean the culture, right? So like culturally, there was like, you know, we come up as Black people. You talking about you from Oakland, I'm from East Orange, you know, Naughty by Nature, Tretch, that whole thing, Redman, East Orange, Newark. So you already know where I'm coming from, right? So we come up in certain conditions, in certain, we have certain cultural ways of living. Pimping is one of them. Gangsterism is another one. The drug culture is another one, because these are, you know, in terms of making money and being able to survive, these are the avenues that were left for us in the 60s and 70s coming up, right? So when you think of like the cultural influence of pimping, we know Oakland to be like, you know, the capital of pimping. And we say Too Short, that's kind of representative of pimp culture. Rap has no beginning. Rap didn't start in New York. Rap didn't start on the East Coast. People been rapping forever. So when you talk about pimp culture, which also existed in Newark, which also existed in New York, which also existed in other places, pimps and hustlers always been rapping. Rudy Ray Moore is a great example, rapping. Richard Pryor was telling jokes in rhyme form, rapping. Would you say that, like, you know, pimp culture kind of like the center of rap and what's considered hip hop in Oakland is pimp culture?
A lot of it was based on pimp culture, but I would like to go in on what you just said, and we could build on that for a minute.
Okay.
And so it definitely was, but from our perspective, you know, what we associate with pimping is not just the exploitation of women for financial purposes. It was this mystique of having, well, you can look at it religiously, because some people will call it like multiple wives, regardless of what you tell them to do. You see what I'm saying? If you're exploiting them, some people looked at it in different ways. Like, and so it was the mystique of that that attracted like young men who was simply in grade school trying to figure out how to get a girlfriend, and then this guy come walking down the street or whatever, pull up with 4 different women in his car. That would, and you in a poverty-stricken community and you not getting no proper guidance, that type of stuff would lead you believe there's something fly about that. You know what I'm saying? But just to be real, everybody wasn't on it. People like to join in that mystique, but wasn't all the way about exploiting Black women like that. And so this is what the difference between the pimp and the player. So if you listen to Show, he spit player game, not pimp game, but it's so closely associated that people might get it confused. It's the difference between knowing that a sister will do anything for you, and then you take that and exploit that for monetary purposes, or knowing that she would do anything to you, and then you're going to take that into your life for pleasurable purposes. Those are just the two differences. You know what I'm saying? And the one who would do it for exploitation purposes would be the pimp, and a lot of things that come along with that. So we learned a long time ago that ain't really what it was, but that mystique that carried on into the culture that made it seem like it was primarily about the exploitation was really about macking and being able to have. Now let me, because I said I wanted to build on this for a minute.
Please.
It's something that we exploit as a power. We exploit the gift of being an orator, and simply when you're an orator who can rhyme, you can mesmerize people, and people have known this throughout the ages. It's lyrics and limericks mesmerize people. So, and then if you're a fast talker and you know how to start doing it, like, check this out, man. You know, if you knew better, you do better. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Pick and choose, win or lose. And but by the time they get to even hearing what you're saying, they mesmerized by the rhymes. That is something we also misuse because there's more power in that than to just trick a simple-minded woman into doing something for your monetary gain. You know what I'm saying? These are the same type of orator powers that people use to lead nations.
Yes.
And stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, some of the bedazzlement that comes from the fast talk of the pimp, you can hear that in the way E40 spit. Because he knew, okay, I'm just gonna take the and fast talk him like Oakland Street Pimp. You see what I'm saying? And get further with that. So I just wanted to say, I would say that it was just about being a player, about, you know, marketing yourself correctly into the hood to where all the women liked you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no doubt. And I appreciate like the clarity, that's why this interview is important. And, I try to approach every interview, especially when it comes to hip hop, to give context. And when people just kind of make assumptions or put things in boxes based on very limited context, it doesn't serve us well as a community. So to get the people from the actual community to talk about it, I get it important. So that said, the whole Hammer phenomenon in terms of, the commercial viability of rap music on a mainstream level, following up after, of course, Run DMC, LL had commercial success, but we had never seen anything like Hammer. And then, he gets judged based on where we were as a culture. We say the culture, hip hop culture, yeah, but American culture as well. Like American mainstream culture wasn't accepting of hip hop music like that. The doors that Hammer opened, along with Run and Houdini and everybody that came before him, but particularly Hammer, the doors he opened up is why a Drake exists in the way that it exists, or a Lil Wayne exists in the way that it exists. What's your take on just the split between commercial rap and what we term as the real rap, which is kind of unfair to say, but it is what it is?
Well, so when we got introduced to this whole music business, we automatically just learned about something called underground, because there was a mainstream that we weren't allowed into, right? And so then we was like, oh, okay, well, now we're underground. As soon as everything was on rap. Remember when rap just in totality was underground? Nothing was on in the mainstream. Nothing would be played on the radio. Maybe Salt and Pepper once in every blue boom. But it seemed that we developed a subculture around not being accepted. Then we came up with the rules and the canons of how you properly not be accepted. So that when somebody breaks that underground mold and then they go mainstream, we had names for that. It was called selling out, right? Because what is they selling out to? He wasn't doing anything against the black movement, right?
Well, the Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial was kind of cool.
Hey,
man, when you doing it like that, you got to pay bills, and he ain't hurt nobody's. But, it's the stereotype of chicken threw people off. The popcorn chicken is like, But,
Well, I think that was later in his career after he had got broke or something. I mean, I don't know about his finances, but that wasn't when he was like popping on TV, was it?
I mean, it was shortly after.
I think it was when he was on his downward slope.
Well, I mean, that was a long slope because he had reached heights that we had never seen reached before. And we're talking about, you know, the very extremely positive side that always needs to be highlighted about Hammer. So the story is that he took care of his people. Like, he brought his people on the road with him. He put his people in positions that they wouldn't have normally been in for, say, his rap career. Like, and we see a lot of folks who blow up, you know, they have, you know, success like Hammer had success, and they kind of shut the door on the people around them. Story is that Hammer bought his folks, and we saw with the show. His shows were incredible. He had, I don't know how many, you know, dozens of people on stage with him at a time. Everybody had a job. You know, he's flying people all. So you got to pay for that, you know. And, you know, a major brand like KFC or whatever the company was says, hey, listen, you know, we got this check for you. And you're looking like, damn, I can pay these bills. I can keep my movement going. You know what I mean? It's toward the end of the blow up side. I'm trying to keep everybody in pocket. You know, I don't know if that plays into it, you know, but, you know, Hammer's.
Ask me right now what I do with Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial.
I kind of understand where you're coming from. I mean, you know, hey,
but I would tell them, give me all creative control.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
I would be like, look at him promoting chicken. Another stereotype. They would have been like, oh, he came on there hard. But I would say, but this shit good. And that's it. Now, I feel you 100%. I just wanted to add a little bit of jovial humor.
No. All right. So listen, I'm gonna keep it 1,000, right? So, you know, we dropped in 90. Madism dropped in 94, right? I was a school teacher from 1990 to 94. I was a school teacher at an after-school program called ACT Now, African Children of Tomorrow Now. I'm studying Dr. Ben. I'm studying Dr. Clark. I'm studying Ivan Van Sertima. I'm taking junior high school, high school kids around the lectures. That's how I meet KRS-One. Okay. Going to his lectures. So my whole thing is education, knowledge, and activism. I'm a member of the Campaign to Free Black Political Prisoners and Prisoners of War. Black Panther Party is something that we got to discuss because we need to know your take on that coming out of Oakland, right? But that's just where I was. So when we got signed to Capitol, big shout out to Malik Levy, LO7 Self, West Coast label, West Coast heads. We get signed to there, and we on our super lyrical shit. And Chris is like, nah, y'all gotta dumb it down. They not gonna understand. Now, Madism is us trying to dumb it down. That's us trying to water it on. That's how Madism pops off. Yeah. Everything else is like, I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of Souls of Mischief, Casual, KRS-One, Public Enemy, Kane, and I'm being told by my mentor, my guy, the biggest inspiration in the motherfucker, you gotta dumb your shit down. These labels ain't fucking with that shit. You want to win? That's how Madism came about.
How did that make you feel when you heard it coming from the teacher?
This nigga hurt me. I was fucked up. I was fucked. We left the studio. Me and Tuffy looking at each other like, what the fuck just happened? This motherfucker's telling us we got to dumb it down. So now his experience was, you know, he was KRS-One, Knowledge Reigns Supreme before he meets Scott LaRock. He's on some super lyrical miracle knowledge, and Scott is going, nah, you got to dumb it down. That's how Criminal Minded got made. Scott gets shot. Chris is back to being Knowledge Reigns Supreme. But now this whole movement happened of super low vibrational music that's being pushed at the labels, the major labels. He signed a job. So he was just really giving us his real-time experience and like, listen, I'm going through something right now trying to get the label's attention. This is how you get the label's attention. I can't do that because I've already kind of cast my shit. Like, people know me as this is my brand. You guys got the opportunity to bust your gun, talk about fucking these hoes, smoking these blunts. I'm a school teacher. I'm like, man, I ain't doing that shit. You listen to our album, we not doing that shit. I see other people that came out at the same time who was doing that shit. And, you know, everything happens for a reason. Everybody has their path. So you can't judge anybody. But I just, you know, comparatively speaking, when you say, how does it make me feel that the teacher, at the time I was fucked up. In retrospect, I understand. I get it. You fucked up right now.
Well, you know, he was trying to give you some advice to help navigate the culture, to help more people hear your message ultimately, right? And then once them people hear it, you got the right to turn up as much as. So I see that's a little cool guidance, but I understand being young and hearing somebody you look up telling you to dumb it down. That's crazy.
That's crazy, right? Yeah,
It'll make me feel bad on this. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But he used to say to us, "Listen, as KRS-One, the teacher, yeah, I fucks with y'all lyrically. Y'all niggas is that shit. As Lawrence Parker, your manager, you gotta dumb that shit down." Now, we had a song called "Cause and Effect," which was encouraging people not to use nigga and bitch. Like that was supposed to be the single. Me and Tuffy picked that as the single. I was a school teacher.
And that was something that had to get done. That was too.
Man, we sent out the sampler and everybody unanimously said Madison was the song. We let the DJs pick. And the DJs told us Channel Live was out their mind. You need to come with this weed record. Matter of fact, we should have followed up with a weed record. Again, we trying to reprogram. We trying to elevate.
Yeah.
Man, sometimes you gotta bend down to the baby. You gotta bend down. You gotta get the baby off the floor. You gotta get down to the baby level. Don't forget to stand up though.
I'll be telling people that sometimes you get the new information, and not speaking directly to your situation, but saying we get information and we don't wait until it naturally merges with our artistry. Instead, we try to force it sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And it comes sometimes the result that we thought we was gonna get ain't the result that we get. You know what I'm saying? I know I learned that a lot. Like even when I study all day, every day, African history, ancient Egyptian language,
we got the time. I plan to we gonna get to all that.
Yeah. So I'm saying, well, I was just saying that to say I just went on those endeavors on my own. Well, since you said we're gonna get to that later, then I'll hold some of that for when we get to that.
Yeah. Because we in Oakland, right? The Black Panther Party I mentioned earlier is extremely important for our movement as Black people, not just nationally, internationally. I look up to what they did, and to know that they were launched in '67 in Oakland, California. How does that make you feel? And what's your take on the Black Panthers?
That's a good question. It made me feel weird because at about the time when I got to learn about the culture, these men were being exploited by members of our community, so-called drug dealers and stuff like that. Like by time, because I'm born in '74, I turned 51 this year, right? And so, I wasn't till about 9 years old I could come outside, and that's like, you know what I'm saying, that's 84 already. And so they had already ran crack, start running in the 80s, soon as the 80s hit. I don't know if it was 81 or whatever. But by the time I started learning, people was talking about how some of these members were dope fiends and stuff. And they'd be belittling them and stuff. Like, he out there on crack. And so I learned, that's the weird feeling I got, because I was learning more about their legacy after hearing them being slandered by Black community members who was into the drug game so much. You know what I'm saying? Because that whole movement had took over, and the guns wasn't really with the Panthers more than they was with the drug dealers at this point. It was one point when all the guns was with the Panthers, because Huey P was a lawyer who figured out how you could carry arms. You see what I'm saying? And so they showed a display of force that we all see in ancient pictures or newspaper captions or what have you. But that had so-called, I would hear about rumors of Panthers snatching up D-boys, right? And telling them to get their life together. So-called aggressive kidnappings to make them get their life together. But other than that, it would be coming from the other side, because the dope game was on elevation at that point. So people were slandering the Black Power movement, which was half the reason why the drugs were put into our community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I often think, like, listen to what you just described about the Black Panther Party. Our community gets so locked into today and what's happening right now that we don't understand our impact for 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line, right? And we create things. Hip hop is one of those things, rock and roll, you just go down the list. But the Black Panther Party and what they were able to create with women, infant, children, the WIC program, something that the government took directly from them, free breakfast program, something that the government public school system took directly from the Panthers. It fucked me up. Even the idea of the leather jacket, I heard, I don't know how true this is what spawned the just the whole leather jacket concept. Happy Days, Fonzie with the leather jacket.
Is that right?
Yeah, like the leather jacket and the importance of a leather jacket was birthed by the Panthers.
Oh, I mean, it probably, I don't even know American fashion history like that. But I would, you know what? Come to think about it. Think of any old picture you reflect on. You ain't seen no white people in no leathers in your memory.
No.
Just think of, like, I'm thinking of the 60s pictures, 50s pictures. I don't remember seeing, I could go to this. Aviator, leather, aviation coats. I could see them with the scarf and with some bomber glasses on. That's the only time I've seen that. So maybe you might be right. And just in my brief memory being.
Now, I know I'm not from the West Coast. I'm definitely not in the gang, so I can't speak, in the affirmative. But I'm also under the understanding that the incident that set off what became the Blood Crip divide started over leather coat.
Is that right?
A leather jacket. Yeah. Somebody got jumped for a leather jacket, and it was like that was kind of the thing that broke communities away from each other. The leather jacket, the importance of the leather jacket, what the leather jacket represented for our people in the 60s coming out of the 50s. And, people don't put historical context on things. I don't know if you saw the movie Sinners.
Yes, I have.
What did you think about that movie?
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. One thing I appreciated is that when you think about it, you had the twins had to leave the South, go up to Chicago, rob the gangsters of the alcohol, run it back down south to home to jump off a juke joint. Just the way we had to live. That wasn't just, it's a made up story. It's fiction, but that's real life in the 30s, in the 40s.
Oh yeah.
We gonna go to the fields where our peoples is still picking cotton as sharecroppers. That was the industry still, like sharecropping. We 1 foot out of slavery. We still slaves at this point, trying to hustle and trying to make shit happen, right? And the whole time creating things. As that movie Sinners was crazy because the whole town was built on our commerce. But you had the white store, you had the Asian store. Everybody's eating off of us, right? It's just, you talking about the 40s, the 50s is one step out of that. We just moving out to California, up north, Chicago. We just like maybe 10, 15 years was like the Great Migration, right? The context of where people in Oakland going, nah, we tired of these motherfucking police. It's time to stand up. Like, where we at in history where motherfuckers think we just gonna get guns and we gonna arm ourselves and coalesce. And then what that means to the people, for instance, Grandmaster Jay is a DJ who, when I want to say the George Floyd rebellions popped off, it was either there or it was right before then, but he was organizing like hundreds of black men to open carry at different marches and protests. And I don't know if you caught wind of that. That happened maybe.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. So the sentiment on Facebook was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. That's what we missing. I think we need to put that talk over there until we get better organized. But I'm just saying, in terms of the what it inspired, for that to have happened in 67, what that triggers in pride, what that triggers in, I want to be that. You ain't got no other real, how can I say, positive, oriented, organized leadership, strong, open carry. Like, that triggers something. And when the Panthers got kind of, taken out, that created a vacuum. Where does that go?
That's a good question. Right now, I mean, even though the black question, the situation is ours, that's our question to answer. But that greater question is being placed on all American people right now with the state of the nation and what we got. This new authoritarianism being ushered in. We got ICE running all over the place. What would they have done when we were still enforcing the Second Amendment? And this is the question right here. They can't stand up against the American people. Mm-hmm. Every armed man and woman coming out, and I know I'm making a parallel between what the Panthers had to do for themselves to show a force, because the Constitution say we can't do that if the government start violating the rights of the people. So he took it on himself, knowing that we was black and he was going to have an uphill battle with that. But even that sentiment, where is it at even right now, though? Like I'm saying, I don't know how the nation is going. I listen to black conversations. I listen to white conversations. I hear it sound real civil. It sound real turmoil in America right now. And we see it's coming from the top. They wanting this to happen. If we just started this conversation talking about how the Black Panthers took advantage of their Second Amendment right to stand against injustice, then I'm just simply asking, where is that even at in the world right now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In terms of hip hop and what we reflect, we're the program, for good or for bad. We've been the program for the last 30 years. Everything is wrapped in hip hop, sold in hip hop. The messaging is hip hop, rap music. But where's that voice, man?
But we've been hijacked though by capitalism. I mean, just like our whole nation has been hijacked. None of these voices in these conversations will ever be pushed towards the forefront. Like, even in these machines we're using, they flag our conversations by the text we're using. Just as simple as they could put up closed captions, they can monitor the text that's in those closed captions and make sure that this type of conversation don't get as far as the other type of conversations. Now, at first that used to sound like conspiracy theory, but now they out in the public saying it wide open that the fight right now was happening on social media, right? So even all of our struggles have a place on social media, but what are we doing? What are the majority of your artists? I think, like, sometimes I see artists with like 14 million, 15 million followers sharing ghetto hood fight propaganda videos. And the propaganda is only to make Black people look worse. Inside of these machines, well, if you could go look at Elon Musk bought X and just allowed racism to be on there. That's but racism against other people besides himself. You know what I'm saying? So really right now is a whole conversation that go all the way leading back to the movement that the Panthers made when they decided that the injustice they was going through was just much too much. And they said, first we got to get into these law books and see what we can do about it. Then they found out what the law said, what they could do about it, and they did it.
So I'm glad you went there because, especially on social media, but, in our community overall, the importance of civic engagement, which I differentiate between politics. Politics is relationships. Politics is who's sitting on what button, what my relationship is with them. civic engagement is how we organize to engage with local government up to federal government. Our civic engagement is lacking in our community, and we don't understand the importance of it. Now, when I say that, if you don't like the government, you need to create your own, and you still have to do that in local groups. Organization is so important. Back to the Black Panthers. That's what made them so dangerous at that moment in time, is because the level of organization was so right and exact, not just locally, but they ended up having national chapters, and how they, intermingled became a whole nother story. But that was the threat, was the organization more than anything else. Organization being our lacking point.
Yeah. Grassroots organizations, we don't understand how powerful that is. I even do a lot of business in hip hop. I run hieroglyphics, so I try to keep things afloat. And one thing I learned in just getting sponsorships, or going after trying to get some corporate money put on whatever move that you busted. You know what I mean? It normally comes in the form of sponsorships. And what I learned all around the scale is they just will pay you for access to the people. Bottom line, they will give you bread. If you can prove you got the people, they cutting a check. And so it working that way on social media too, because now their numbers, they can just look at your numbers and they be like, oh, okay, he got 5 million followers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we could get, they paying people to do state-sponsored posts to support certain nations right now. You know what I mean? And so that means it's real. It's real in the field. And they say those posts are worth 7,000.
7,000, yeah.
A post.
But now how do we flip that script and draw that energy back home so it's not just for them?
Because it lets you know how valuable our posts are. See what I mean? They saying that they'll give somebody 7,000 to disseminate their misinformation, then that lets you know proper information in a real post is taking 7 G's away from them. You see what I mean? It's debiting their social accounts. It's because we're putting up the truth that's extracting from their lie, blood. So I'm saying if somebody telling what they're willing to pay to stop you from doing something, then they're telling you the value of what you're doing. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm like, well, that let me feel good about my post then, because I might not be at the level of these influencers who reach that many people, but it don't matter like that with the grassroots. It's like they don't want to hear the the grass crinkling before the fire is happening all over the place. And they like, how we put this out? And they hear a little smoke smoldering over there. These small little smolders make one big fire, you know what I mean? And they trying to stomp it out as it, smolders or what have you.
So, see, I'm trying to stay like linear across the timeline. But when you say that, I think of Hiro Day. And what that means and how that came into existence and like what that whole thing is about.
Man.
Because y'all so, we think of the Bay Area, we think of Hiro. Like it's what it is.
It was about really carving out. I mean, this kind of, how Wu-Tang had their 36 chambers?
Yeah.
I didn't know if they thought of that after or before. You know what I'm saying? But with this one, with Hiro Day, we thought of it after. So it came up to be carving out a sacred day, a sacred space. We didn't know what we was doing, right? But then when we first threw the first events in rowdy ass Oakland, it would never be no violence at Hiro Day, right? So then at about the third Hiro Day is when we was like, yo, the word Hiro means sacred. And it's Hiro Day. We've literally carved out a sacred space in Oakland, and that's why everybody act like that. But we didn't do that in preliminary, you know what I'm saying? We figured it out after. We was like, why it be so cool at Hiro Day? Like, never no fights. You be seeing gangsters like trying to help people at Hiro Day. That's how it was.
Yeah.
And we just figured out, yo, like sometimes you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes you working and you don't know why you working. And then you look back and say, oh, this is what I was doing. We created one day, it was called Labor Day, when nobody worked, but we was employing so many people in Oakland to pull off that event that wouldn't even have got breaded on that day, you know what I'm saying? And so it was a wonderful thing. And plus the goal of the event was to take our younger artists from Oakland, our business plan for High Road Day is to take the young artists, the people that everybody know, but the nation don't know, and let them rock with a big ass artist. So if you go look at all of the it'll always be hella local people, like it's just gonna be a Oakland event, and then you look at the top, bow, and it'd be the Roots, or it'd be Common Sense, and so that was just like, well, you know, not to go over, but you get to an age where you start feeling like if you're not giving something back, then you're really not official. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the official artists before us, when they got to their third or fourth album, next you start hearing their homies, or you start seeing in what way they was giving back. Let's talk about how KRS gave us Y'all. You see what I'm saying? On the West Coast, we looked at it just like that. Like, okay, now he's bringing out his homies. You feel me? Listen. And so I felt like, okay, when High Road gonna start doing that? And whether it matched or not, we've done that. We contributed to the whole Bay Area hip hop scene. There's an article called "The House That High Road Built" to show our contributions with all the Bay Area artists that people don't even know about. But
so such as give me some.
Oh well, I mean, you can go to the whole. Shout out to all my Live Wire. All of them was our tenants in our building before they blew up. They was putting a record company together in the in our downstairs rooms of our building. So I'm talking about artists like Jay Stalin, Shady Nate. I mean, I can say a little bit of everybody. PTB, Mr. FAB, but Fab wasn't doing as much in our basement. He was on his own thing. But the article by the SF Times, I think it was called the House That High Road Built, and talking about Tajay with Clear Label Records, who made many great contributions in the Bay Area to help a lot of the artists learn the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like Tajay is a great dad. The whole crew, man. Like I fucks with all y'all motherfuckers. Like I just like, you know, they say you know, don't ever meet your heroes, they'll let you down. It's definitely the opposite. Like every time I got, like I said, it was a validation of what the real shit was. You know, I was in college and teaching at the time when y'all dropped. And just the spirit, the energy of knowledge, expressing it in art form through lyricism. Y'all just was the embodiment of all of that. So, you know, with A+, I fucks with him heavy when he comes to New York. You know, we used to run around the streets heavy. So, you know, seeing y'all and having a chance to see you on Instagram, just spitting that fire.
Now, let me ask you something. I want to go back. I got a question for you. Were you able to be at my album release in 1994?
No.
Dang.
You got one in New York?
It was in New York.
Nah, I don't.
Chris was there.
Chris was there.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, we got an ill story with KRS-One, but that's for another time.
Okay. My bad.
Nah, it's all good. It's, when you hear the story, you'll understand. The teacher, boy. Woo. What was I gonna say? I had asked you what?
Oh, I'm sorry, I threw you off. I threw you off. We just built on the Black Panthers, and then
no. What you just said, you were talking about High Road Day. Okay, we're talking about High Road Day. Yeah. We're talking about High Road Day. All right, so you know when we were talking about High Road Day, I had this big Kool-Aid smile on my face because like that's what hip hop is. Hip hop is not what we do, it's how we do it. Right? It's how we communicate, it's how we network, it's how we build with one another, right? Keyword is build with one another. right? The enemy wants to destroy us, so they give us all this other bullshit that's just bullshit. But the essence of hip hop culture is live and direct at Hyro Day. I've never been there, but I already know how you putting it down. I already know the sentiment which y'all carry. That shit is what it is, right? So we have a sister event in Newark, New Jersey that was created in 2010 called 24 Hours of Peace.
Okay.
Right? So the mayor there is Ras Baraka, right? This is when he was South Ward councilman, principal at Central High School, started an organization called the Newark Anti-Violence Coalition, right? For 5.5 years straight, every Wednesday, they would protest violence and crime in the streets of Newark, New Jersey. Shooting, murder, domestic violence, police brutality. They locked down the block for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. They out there with the bullhorn. We got to get our shit together. It's time to stand up. Y'all ain't just wilding. It's time to put down the gun. Like going in, right?
Yeah.
Now, come September, October, get dark early. Coming home from work, you get caught in traffic for 5 hours. You ain't trying to be in traffic for 5 hours. You got the kids in the back. People hop out the car. Yo, get out the street. Try to get home. Arguments. Police got to get involved. All right. How can we take the sentiment of the Newark Anti-Violence Coalition and what's going on here, which is civic engagement, raising the vibration, pushing peace. Put hip-hop on the block. Build a stage. Put some speakers up there, get all the local artists to collaborate with some of the hip hop greats, some of the big name entertainment. Everything you describe is 24 hours apiece, right? Now the South Ward councilman Ras Baraka, when it was created, is now Mayor Ras Baraka, has been the mayor since 2014. And then he has an Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery, Brick City Peace Collective. Those two offices deal specifically with lowering the violence and crime in Newark, New Jersey. So everything from job placement, educational opportunities. The brother's giving away houses for $1, bro.
Wow,
like,
yeah.
His like Raz is the son of Amiri Baraka Sr. And you know about the Black Arts movement out of Newark, New Jersey back in the early 70s. Amiri is one of the great poets of our time. Rest in peace. This is his son who runs the city of Newark, New Jersey, and his brother Amiri Baraka Jr., who's the co-founder of 24 Hours of Peace. So, it's a 24-hour concert from 6 p.m. on Friday to 6 p.m. on Saturday. Toward the end of the summer, we did. I'll put you onto it. I'm gonna send you some videos so you can see what it is. But
so people be rocking at 6 in the morning,
bro. We had 10,000 people out there at 5 in the morning. We shut it down at 5. We start back 7 a.m. with yoga.
Okay, yeah.
We start back at 7 a.m. with yoga, physical fitness with Nikki D, Hockey Moo, and Indio Champ. We feed over 100 senior citizens. We got gospel choirs. We got spoken word. Last year we did the baby, Jacquees, Jadakiss, Coogee Rap, G-Dep, Allure.
Oh, you had the baby?
We had the baby, yeah. Last year we did an all-female. The last year we did an all-female lineup. The whole event was all females. Nikki D, Roxanne Shante, Moni Love, Rage, Yo-Yo, Maya, Asian Doll, Lady London, the baddies. So we try to engage the entire Newark community. You know what I mean? We try to have certain artists that represent a certain thing so we can target those people for these programs that we got through the city. Okay. And I wish we could say there was never any fights, but there's never really any fights. Like a couple skirmishes here and there. But no, but that's what hip hop is supposed to be about, not just rapping and rocking the mic. So when I heard about Hyro Day, you know what I'm saying, I didn't understand what inspired it, your engagement with the local community around nonprofits. Is it any type of that interaction going on?
100%. I learned about putting together festivals where I'm trying to watch my words so I don't say nothing insensitive, but providing vendor space for the community to set up their businesses in their in a 10 by 10. Mm-hmm. And then you got, like, let's say I got 4 blocks in downtown Oakland. It will become like a marketplace. And then we're bringing the people, we bringing out 15 to 20,000 at the high road day. You see what I'm saying? We would create a new marketplace for our local small businesses and vendors on high road day, to where people would be trying to pay their vendor fees early in the year, because at our earlier events, a lot of people were selling out. A lot of the vendors were selling out because the turnout was outrageous and overwhelming. And so I'm just thinking of it from a not really a business standpoint, maybe a cooperative economic standpoint. You see what I'm saying? To where, it'd be 100 booths there that are all a small business from the Bay Area. And not to mention the 40 artists that take place on the 3 different stages. You see what I'm saying?
Y'all do 3 stages?
Yeah, we most Iro days have had 3 stages. We probably had some with 2 stages. The last one just had 2 stages. But yeah, 3 stages of all day from 11 to 7 is what we could pull off. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that was, a few of those events were free. To where we just had to come up with the bread out of our pockets. You know what I mean? And not really benefit monetarily. You know what I mean?
Now it's to the point where you guys have created a nice system for yourself.
Yeah, we got a cheap ticket. We still try to keep it like community based. But we like, it should be at least paying for itself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now we have the blessing. We do this with the city of Newark, New Jersey, so we have the resources through the city. But the local vendors with 24 hours apiece, they eat well. They register through the city for free. It was a light fee to register. But we do it right in the hood where it's popping off, like where they need the message the most is where we do it. So like yourself, we give the local community that financial lift, you know what I mean? But at the same time, we have to show that, pushing for peace and pushing for our people's progress overall is valuable. So we should be paid for the work.
Oh yeah.
Especially when we got the people, like you said earlier, like we got the people. So for private entities, corporate, these brands want to get involved to get access to the people, they should pay heavily like they would for something negative, like they do all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely. You should be paid probably twice as good, but the mandate ain't there for them to do that. It's on us to figure out how to monetize these things and to make sure that we are being, I don't want to say being capitalist, but that we're playing the game correctly in this society that we trapped in. Like you can't do free stuff all the time in a capitalist society. It just don't work. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be on the street in the rain. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of us don't even understand to the point that the word support is almost taken as a pejorative. You know what I'm saying? They hear support. If you get on your social media and ask for support, people look at you like you weak.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, let's just keep it
absolutely. Yep.
So you got to be clever and make them support without saying, yo, support my shit. Excuse me. You got to be like, yo, this shit popping off. What is you doing? You're missing it. And then they be like, for real? And then they'll tap in. But if you just be like, yo, just support, I'm trying to do something good, they're going to be looking at you like you don't got it all together.
Yeah, bro. The blessing, huge blessing is the Honorable Mayor Ras Baraka, Amiri Baraka Jr. Big shout out to them. Do It All Kelly from the Lords of the Underground. I don't know if you know, but he's the West Ward City Councilman in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and he's doing some tremendous things. And like I said, when you look at our generation, hip hop on that level, coming from where we coming from, having experiences that we have, be able to have power in certain places and influence in certain places, we shouldn't take that for granted. And we got to learn how to support one another so we could leverage each other's power more effectively. So I really appreciate everything y'all doing. We ain't going nowhere. I'm just letting you know how much you appreciate it. Just watching yourself, your team, Hyro, what you guys mean to the culture means it just, can't say enough about it. But I don't want to miss out on, us talking about, I seen a recent post of yours spitting them bars. It was very Afrocentric, African-centric.
Oh, for real, which post was what was I spitting?
It was a song. I don't. Damn.
Oh, Babylonian bars.
Maybe Babylonian bars. Maybe Babylonian bars. Maybe
well, that ain't the name of the song, but that was the first thing I said in that song. Because I'm thinking of the things that I put up lately, and it was a song called "The White Crown of Egypt of Upper Egypt" that I did with DJ Eclipse on the cuts.
I think that. Yeah.
I started out saying Babylonian bars, Ugaritic, spit it, get it, dagger on me. That harpoon, it ain't for abalone. Yeah.
All right. So I talked earlier about how I was Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Yosef Ben Yakinen, you know what I mean? Like ancient Egypt, just Africa, the origins of humanity. Like, you see what the logo is for Madism.
Oh, for sure.
His Heru. And, it is definitely a strong movement in the Americas that, because the black man reached every part of the planet Earth before there was any thought of anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And then things happen. And we get the wonderful colors of the human family, the grace to earth. However, the origin of everything always leads back to Mother Africa, so it seems. So, where'd you get your inspirations from, bro? Because the bars are right and exact.
So, not to belittle Oakland and my upbringing and the knowledge, because I told you that when I got introduced to the Panthers, it was negative because the drug game was on the up and up. Yeah. But there were still remnants of the movement still fighting through what was going on. And it was like a place called the Uhuru House in Oakland, on right next to, in Oakland, people know about the red fence. But on Foothill, on MacArthur by 79th and blah, blah, blah. At the Uhuru House, it was like the last place of consciousness that you could find during the dope game movement. Like you walk right outside and they music, the trunk rattling, but you got to sneak into this place to hear them talk about some Black Power stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I got taken there. It just so happened that my dad enrolled me to play the saxophone at the store that was directly across the street from the Uhuru House. And so I would be seeing it, and they had Marcus Garvey, everybody painted, and I'm looking like, damn, this is the only building in Oakland I even seen with some Black people on it like that. You know what I'm saying? And eventually I had a friend named David Haynes who would be telling me, I mean, we was 13, young. He would be telling me how the Bible wrong, and he must have had got a line of knowledge from somebody. Right. I think his dad was on the knowledge, but was kind of like scared of the government. Like they used to be thinking like the government gonna get you type stuff. You feel me? If you knew this information. But he'll be telling me about the Bible. He the first one who made me look at that one verse where it says Shakespeare. You ever seen somebody showed you that? There's a verse in the Bible that if you read,
you reverse is Shakespeare at the top of the verse and Spear at the bottom of the verse. Yeah.
Well, that somebody put that together, but that was one of the things that he was using to wake me up at a very young age. So I already was kind of different at around 14, 15. I was trying to find some knowledge from another place. I did not get it traditionally like a lot of my brothers got it on the East Coast. Y'all was right next to Dr. Ben and Yosef Ben. I mean, that is Dr. Ben. John Henry Clark. And y'all was right, I mean, closer to their schools and places where they spoke and taught. Being on the West Coast, they probably did have events, but it just wasn't something that the community knew all about. So honestly, bruh, a lot of my first stuff was coming through hip hop.
That me too.
Yeah, it was coming through hip hop.
Yeah, like so early, like in the 70s, we was in the nation. My mom was in the nation. So, my name is Hakim. My legal name is Hakim. So it was always, everybody had an attribute. Everybody had a Muslim name. Everybody had The Nation of Islam and Orthodox Islam and the Moors were real big in Jersey, tri-state area, late 60s, 70s. So you were around it then, but then the 80s, everybody fall out. We was just on our own shit. And then hip hop brought us back. PE, KRS-One, Tribe, Native Tongue, that whole movement got us kind of reshifted. And then it was certain just racially motivated things happening in and around New York City, Central Park 5, Tawana Brawley, Yusef Hawkins, Michael Stewart. Like the protests, the need for protest and activism was just constantly on the news, constantly there. So you saw the connection. But when I get to college and PE dropped, it was like, okay, all right, now I get it. And we all, X-Clan. So the song that you just, Babylon Bars, what you're saying and how you said it, I haven't heard quite like that since Brother Jay on Black Was to the East.
And that's such a compliment.
And that's
how much I looked up to him?
Yeah, man.
The way that you just said what you said, that is the supreme honor for me to hear you say that. And I'm glad you bestowed that upon me. Because when I would listen to Brother Jay, I was like, oh man, he figured out how to have as much swag as a gangster, but not be gangster. Right. I mean, he would get on straight
Pimp Caddy, Pimp Strut.
Dogg, to take it a buck, Snoop Dogg borrowed a lot of Brother Jay swag.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. People might not want to listen to, but Snoop will tell you, because Brother Jay was hitting the beat so right.
Always.
It's something we got. It's something about African American authenticity that you can hear when somebody when they word their sentences away. You be like, I want to kick it with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm cut from the same cloth as this brother because of how he put that sentence together.
Now it's like, it's the fact that the flow is tight, right? It's locked in. It's the fact that you saying all the right shit. And like Brother Jay, it actually makes sense when you apply it to what's really, like, the historical fact of the matter is what he just rhymed. It's not just you taking names and rhyming words. The concept that you're trying to express in the bar is right and exact.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it's only a few motherfuckers that could really execute that shit like that.
You know what? I appreciate that. You know what? I have an ambition to do that. I have a belief that, how did the Songs of Solomon last this long? And what hip hop song has been written that's great enough to last the next 2,000 years? Even if I could take songs less than the Songs of Solomon, even they said the Psalms of the Bible was supposed to be songs, right? That's what Psalms mean. So them bars, that's what I got to compete with. I'm not trying to compete with rappers walking around. I want to write something that they can look at 1,000 years later and be like, this boy said this. You know what I'm saying?
I like to share this story with people. The story of Vincent van Gogh. When he was alive, he was laughed at, ridiculed. He was taken for a joke as an artist. 70 years after he died, he's considered one of the greatest artists to ever have lived, which means that the people in the time in which he lived couldn't appreciate him because of the circumstances they were in. I forget what age of art it was, but it was very superficial. It wasn't for conceptual. He's just very superficial, much like we are today. So I hear people out there who say, these old niggas, the 50-plus-year-old niggas, the 40-plus-year-old niggas, you stop rapping. I'm like, nah, man, because somebody got to make music for these kids when they get 40 and 50 years old.
Well, you know what? That's all propaganda and BS. I've seen the opposite lately. They getting so disgusted with us stopping that they be like, yo, we need some older rappers to spit some more bars because these youngsters. No, I've seen they flipping around the content, but you got to also realize that when you are forced to come up with content, every opinion gonna run through it. The new one I just seen the other day is, oh, old niggas rock so much polo. Excuse my language. That's
Big shout out to Thurston Howell the third, by the way. He's on the check-in.
Oh, yeah, Thurston. That's my man. We got I got him on the remix to my new polo joint. So it's right on time with what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now, there's certain type of black men, and I can tell who a sucker by how they be addressing me about the youth. The men my age who follow the youth, I consider them suckers. And that's no disrespect to their manhood. I'm talking about socially. If you are more concerned with not being looked at as an old black man than you are with leading the youth, I'm more concerned with leading the youth. And I'm less, I want them to identify me as an OG. I don't want them to think I'm one of them. And I want a man who is 25 years old to be able to live to 50. You have no advantage in what you don't know. Your next 25 years that you might not even see. And so a cat might be like, you know what I'm like, I'll put it this way. Now, and this is not really a side note, but it's not the best illustration I could use. But I'm making some clothes right now, and one of my business partners told me what the youth is wearing right now. You feel me? To like I'm supposed to go back and redesign the product to suit what the youth is wearing. And I'm like, but we the adults, we the leaders. We the ones who've been through all this fashion, who show our seeds how to be clean. Now we know they're not, we didn't prefer it the same way our pops do, but when you go get fitted, right, and when you get suited and booted, who you do it like? You do it like your elders. So why would I be trying to trip off the youth? The youth, and then I worked in youth centers, and guess what? All of the dudes who acted like that, their offices was never filled up with the youth. Their offices, all of the youngsters, all of the grown men who tried to act like they was 30, like it'll be somebody 45 and they'll call me OG. I'm 50. We're in the same age group. You're not calling me OG to give me reverence. You are trying to place yourself in a younger age group. And that is what and it's not an attack of a person's manhood to say you a sucker. We just speak from the shoulder sometimes to make people correct their actions, not to just say that you ain't a good person.
To your point, this is like 15 years ago. I walk inside a store. Now I'm 56. So I'm like 41, 2, something like that. I go inside the bodega, and it's two cats about my age talking about the popular rapper at the time and ask me my opinion of him. And I'm like, I don't really have an opinion on him because he's not making music for me. Yeah. He shouldn't be making music for cats that's 45, 50 years old. He should be making music for the generation he's in. And not that it needs to be a separation. There always needs to be a bridge of communication. We have to be able to talk and deal with young people, and they have to be able to talk and deal with us in order for us to all move forward. However, we're supposed to lead. We're not supposed to follow. We're always supposed to be in a leadership stance. And everything that we do should be from a leadership. Not I'm trying to son you, but no, I'm trying to teach you. And yes, I can learn from this child, but they need to have direction. And I am the direct. We are the signpost.
Man, I learned so much from the youth when I was in youth centers. I learned, and it would blow me away how smart our youth were. I'm talking about kids who have bad life situations. They'll be telling me about murders and people dying, but their aptitude was really, really high. And I was even blown away. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I'll just shout out, that was really Thurston in the chat. I just now seen it. Shout out to him. I thought you just brought him up.
No, he's in the building.
I just looked to see that he was in
That's
the chat.
family right there. Me and Thurston rock, like we've been rocking since like the 90s.
Well, you know what? Dale used to be the biggest Thurston fan, and he was always telling me about him. But it took me a while to listen. You know how I be in hip hop. Sometimes we just be lazy on listening to what something your homie said. Then you hear it and be like, "Oh shit, Dale was teaching me about this. This the shit."
Yeah, Thurston been doing this thing. I met him in 94, 95 in a battle. Me, him, and Benny Boone, the video director.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's how I met Thurston, and he would come through the crib.
When them 90s battles was crazy.
Everything independent, everything out the trunk. He's the king of the independent movement for sure. And then when I got down to Miami, I moved to Miami, South Florida in 2015. And he was already down here. And he had a low life Miami doing big things with the whole crew down here. And he just embraced me once again. And we rock. We got joints. And he told me about the joint that you guys did. So I'm looking out for that one.
Oh yeah, I'm saving that for my album. It's the remix to a little polo joint I did, but I didn't want to just waste it on social media because songs only last a week or two on social media. You feel me?
Yeah.
Then they act like you can't post it no more. So I said I'm saving that for my album. That's gonna be the remix joint with me and Thurston.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Nah, man, this has been a great conversation with you, man. I don't, we've been on an hour and a half. And I'm not necessarily in a rush. I ain't moving you around. I don't know if you have things to do.
I ain't in no rush, but I gotta go grab some tree if we're gonna keep going. Can I walk in the other room and grab my pack?
Nah, for sure. But let's do this. That joint that we talked about, Babylon Bars. What's the name of that?
Oh, it's called The White Crown.
The White Crown. Can you find that? Can you let me see if I can find that.
I can give it to you right now.
Yeah, and then
but I hope it's the one you're talking about.
Because I need to step away myself and get
I'm just
right.
Gonna grab some, but I don't want the people to step away. You feel me?
Nah, the people ain't gonna step away because we're about to hit them with this fire. We're gonna play the video, and y'all need to lock in with Casual, the White Crown, aka Babylon Bars.
Oh, well, that was just my opening line. But here's the I don't even know if you know that I have a YouTube channel that I do Smash Rockwell.
We need to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I need to get you on my show too. So
come on, let's go. Let's do it. You know how it is. Doors always open.
We're gonna be talking straight to knowledge.
Yeah.
So I've been running up on Egyptologists. So you know what I'm saying? We sitting on the work. I'm trying to find this White Crown Casual. We sitting on the work of our elders and our ancestors, but we repackaged it and we ran it through all this new technology, and we done came up with some new stuff that they hold on. We done came up with some new stuff that helps to support their arguments, and we've even gained some new admissions from a few Egyptologists. Running up on, I'm well versed in the Medu Neter, I spot read. I mean, you can try to front me off, right? And you can find something on the internet, and you can have the translation and pop it on the screen, and I'm gonna tell you what the translation say. I mean, that with my limited studies of 20 years in the Medu Neter, that was something. So earlier, I mentioned how the Wu-Tang had 36 chambers. But really what I was referencing is having a backstory to your art. And the artists who got a backstory to their art when I was coming up, they was flyer than the ones who didn't have nothing to say. Because when you talk to the Wu, they get to being like, well, when you go through the first chamber, you get to meet the Wu. And you be like, damn, they got a whole society, a cult about this thing.
An experience is more than raps. It's an experience.
Well, mine's was, dude, we hieroglyphics. Like, it's perfect. Yeah. I need to learn.
Oh, you went out. What's up? Where you at? Yo, we got MC Casual from the hieroglyphics. Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, I don't know. You froze up a little bit. It just got a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. I see the screen.
We the hieroglyphics. I need to learn. And then you froze up.
Oh, yeah. We hieroglyphics. In order for us to have 36 chambers like the Wu, I'm about to learn the Medu Neter and learn ancient Egypt. And so that when they come run up on us, and I can get to tell them all about the glyphs. You see what I'm saying? But it went a bit further. We got deep. I got in a debate with a lot of people in academia, and they sharpened my sword to the point to where now I'll be talking to straight PhDs. A lot of the Egyptologists, a lot of your favorite Egyptologists, they know me by first name. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. No, now, do you have your degree?
No, I don't. I don't have a degree. I got accepted to Manchester recently off of my work, bro. That stuff crazy. So I write public articles under rapgod.wordpress.com. I did this on purpose just for fun. I submitted myself to Manchester to see in England to see if they would accept me based on the work that I've previously done in the field already. And I got accepted, bro. But I didn't go because I ain't had time. I just was seeing how good my work was. You see what I'm saying? But not to be seeming all pretentious, I'm really excited and happy to know what I know. I don't feel better than nobody. It is just some backstory to being down with the hieroglyphics crew. You feel me?
No, that's a great backstory, my G. Because when I say hip hop isn't what we do, it's how we do it, right? And I got the video. I'm just trying to get it to. Let me just. And the knowledge element in the culture isn't highlighted quite enough. And you got academia. We talk about academia. You have teachers of hip hop, the principal, and you have hip hoppers who are teachers, professors at colleges, have curriculums. Under 24 hours apiece, we've created a curriculum. Basketball is life. Also, power of the spoken word. We're talking about the power of the word. This NYU got hip hop courses taught by Ninth Wonder. Young Guru is real active on the in the educational scene, right? The knowledge element and how vast and powerful it is. When we think hip hop, we keep thinking rap, and I think that's so not the way to look at this. When you see this brother's knowledge, his research, then put in artistic form. Oh my God, like I need y'all to lock in. And we're gonna rock out.
Oh, thank you.
Wait a minute.
I don't know if we got audio yet. We don't hear the audio. Oh, here we go.
Get it, dagger on.
Back. Let's go.
Upper age, boy. Got that white crown. Upper age, boy. Babylonian bars, you can really spit it, get it, dagger on me. That harpoon, it ain't for abalone. Phoenician pieces made of Nubian gold. Antediluvian scrolls hit the Nubian poles. And if you want to debate that, you'll get truly exposed. I'm like the king of Axum, accent. Bring the maxims of Patar back to action. I actually swing my axe, so Y-axis 32 degrees west on the Y-axis. Try and catch us. Christianity was stole from Kemet, lying bastards. Compare the book of Psalms to Aminope. Sometimes when rhyming, I'm just like a shaman, okay?
Some sound alright, but then they act silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly.
I'm a star charting Bantu boy with my bow and arrow. I raise a king in my gnome if I don't know the pharaoh. Explosive and lethal in your dreams like Joseph the Hebrew. And no sending evil YJ and neck bet. Here to ward that off, I'm not a sage burner. Scroll learner, the page turner. The script writer, put the pen down cause I don't fucking need it. Cause I got the white crown, the upper I rock the white crown, say top shimmer. You rock the red crown, say top metal. You rock the white crown, say top shimmer. You rock the red crown, say top metal.
Some sound alright, but then they act silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly.
I'm a C group, Magi Archer, from Ta-Nehisi. You conscious community pseudos never try to test me. As I'm in Rock Squad up, fuck religion. And when I'm on the mic, don't cut my wisdom, boy. I'm WEB
Du Bois. I'll smother you under the Sphinx, heed the voice. Ancestrally cooking up mean lyrics. Cats fighting cause they don't think the Dogon has seen Cirrus. And DNA can't prove ethnicity. How you conscious? You say Pacific instead of specifically. You know my shit so raw, you get crushed. Think the force of a hippo drum. I rock the white crown, say top shimmer. You rock the red crown, say top metal. You rock the white crown, say top shimmer. You rock the red crown, say top metal.
Some sound alright, but then they act silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Some sound alright, but then they act silly. Try conquering my crown, really very silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. My crown. My crown, try conquering my crown, really very, very silly. My crown, and that's really very silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly.
It's powerful, 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 powerful bars for days. And you know, I'm always anything comedic, I lock in. I gotta, you know, you see what the logo for Madism is.
Yeah.
You see what the tats are. I got the horror my cat. Ram.
Oh yeah, you said the horror Mac. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Ramesu. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not as locked in as you are with it, but
it don't matter. That's why I'm locked in, because we all got something different to do, but we all make different contributions. So what do you study primarily?
In terms of
religion?
like,
you know, when you in some information, is it politics or is it history or?
I mean, just because of the state of affairs currently, you know, I guess I'm into the politics. You know, I have a background. I don't have my degree. I went to school for 3.5 years and things happened and I had to hustle. But in terms of my study, you know, like I said, John Henry Clark, Ivan Van Sertima, John Jackson, John G. Jackson. You know, so
all the greats, basically.
All the greats. But with the state of affairs currently, man, you know, I came up a big conspiracy theorist back in the 90s. You know, I was into that.
I mean, we all had a minute was you one for more than 10 years?
No, yeah, for sure. I started to lock in around 90, 91, Behold the Pale Horse, you know, Illuminati 666, Rule by Secrecy, Trilateral Commission.
So you read Behold the Pale Horse?
Yeah, I read Behold the Pale Horse.
You remember the chapter on the aliens?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You didn't get confirmation on what he said?
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten confirmation in real life and from the U.S. government. Remember, he spoke in that book about the underwater bases that he used to see UFOs going.
Yeah, he did put a caveat at the end of it, though. There was a caveat.
Let me know
where what he had been shown could have been misinformation, and it's actually government technology. He said that.
Yeah, I thought about that too because I seen him with my own eyes.
Like, really, when you say you see it, you saw what was on
what he said in the book with my own eyes when we was filming our 1998 video. You Never Knew, the one we in Hawaii. I mean, he used to say he was stationed off the Navy in Hawaii, and I had an incident where I seen that stuff they be talking about now. But I got to see it in my own life, and it made me think that, damn, this.
You talking about the spaceships?
Nah, not no spaceships.
You talking about actual alien
things? No, things coming from. It looked like what you would think was a comet, and then you think it's gonna fade away like a comet, and it just kept going and went into the ocean. Then you thought it was over, and hella strange lights start popping up on the top of the ocean. And then it shoot back out. So when you mention that book and you say conspiracy theory, I was like, man, it was one thing he talked about in that book. I got to see it with my own eyes. And I was with two other brothers who got to witness it as well.
Well, conspiracy theory don't mean that it's not true. Conspiracy theory just means that, it's something that's hidden.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's a part of a general conversation with a certain group of private individuals, and they know what's going on, but it doesn't mean that, it's to be diminished or just because it's a conspiracy theory.
I got you.
My issue with the conspiracy theory community as a whole is that at some point you got to apply the knowledge somewhere. And if you can't stop that thing, you're wasting your time. You're better off focused on local politics, local government. Understand that exists, but deal with the things that you can actually change, right? And I had some experiences. Well, one, the Occupy Wall Street movement, running around with those crazies. I got, introduced to Alex Jones. So I was subscribing to a lot of that nonsense. And then, I was like, I didn't vote for Obama twice because I thought they was going to use the black man to usher in the Illuminati and all that craziness. Illuminati's already ushered in. But I broke my hand. I had that reconstructive surgery of the wrist and hand in 2015. And if it wasn't for the American Care Act, I wouldn't have use of my left hand right now.
Yeah.
And then Ras Baraka happened in Newark, New Jersey. And though he was the outsider, he wasn't supposed to win. He wasn't the mainstream candidate.
Mm-hmm.
He won Newark. And that showed me the power of local politics. And then having people in place, local, county, state, federal, to leverage more than anything, not to be a Republican or a Democrat, but what's the best way to leverage resources for the various things we want to do on a local level. That seemed to be worth more of my time than, caught up in the conspiracy theory world, chasing ghosts with a person who will call me nigga quick. And I saw that happen with, when we talk about it's a class struggle as much as it's a race struggle.
Mm-hmm.
That white folks vote against their interest constantly. They move against their interest constantly just to have a better position than black people. Until we can stop that, it's hard to truly create race unity. You're asking people to give up power, even if it's just the illusion of power. To give it up and to follow leadership that come from other places. It's hard for them to do that. So black folks have to organize amongst themselves to the best of our ability and leverage the resources that we have, find allies where we can, and where those allies don't exist, we can't just point the finger and go, them, the Illuminati, 666. So that's kind of what happened.
I mean, we would be in a better, and I'm just talking about the black community. We'd be in a better situation if we just simply had 2-person households. I'm talking about not limited to 2 people. I meant man, father and wife. If we just had the majority of households like that, father and mother, we'd be in a better situation. It's out here crazy. We be making, and then I don't know, I think there was some problem with just, ultimately there was a problem with sexuality, but that's not what I'm going to talk about, the deviance. I want to talk about the righteous problem with sexuality, where it was even still pressed. And then it was when you don't got nothing and you can be promiscuous, but you're in poverty, that's like all you got. You see what I'm saying? So dudes be going around getting everybody pregnant.
Yeah.
But you broke. And so, we got to have these conversations.
So no, it's self-control and discipline. Self-control and discipline is something that's not, it's not as, we need it more in our community. Not more than anybody else, but it's severely lacking in our community. Control, self-discipline. So we talking about sexuality, not even talking about, gender identification, what you identify as, or we're talking about the ability to control your sexual urges, so you can, one, focus on your life and get your shit together. Number one, so when you do have children, you're planning for a future and not just a baby's mother. Like, that's absolutely, we put a lot of burden on women. So as men, we need to step up in that degree. So discipline and self-control, I definitely think is something that we need to focus on.
I'll be on some other stuff though, but I will attach biblical tradition to modern day times. Mm-hmm. And I'll be telling them, yo, everyone you hit, that's your wife, no matter what you think, bro. Like, you thinking you just out here, but you just ain't taking care of your stuff. You know, you got 8 baby mamas. It's just like the Bible, but you just being a bum about all of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You not stepping up like, I did this. What little can I do if it's anything? But anyway, I'm not better than nobody. These are our problems I'm discussing. I'm not discussing somebody else's problems. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. These are our problems as that we have to deal with as Black men. Yeah. And so we need to figure out, like, how can we come to a place where first we can speak about it, and then we can start to get some solutions.
Yeah, somebody put in Black Man Union, that good guy.
What's up with that good guy? Yes, sir, man.
Yeah. Nah, it's the small things, man. It's the things that we can control in our lives. Like, we're talking about local government. Family is the first government, period, point blank. If we can't govern the family, properly, then the extension of the family becomes community, becomes, city government and outward. So to your point, like, family is the most important part of this whole thing.
If I'm at my 50s, that means that the people doing wild in the streets is at the age of my sons and daughters. That means it's our sons and daughters doing the wilding. I mean, not only, right, but somebody who can hear this under their voice might, know that some of our seeds is involved in some of the things we were involved in, but 10 times worse. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know the solutions to that, but I just know that we need to open up platforms for us to discuss some of the realisms and get back right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In terms of this thing we call rap, what can we do to of course, you got Harold Day, we got 24 hours apiece, but what can we do to really kind of shine light on these other young people who got the right messaging? Who's spitting bars the right way, who's holding the torch the right way?
I think we need some type of organization, no matter who's involved, some thinking men need to come together and act some real actionable items. I'm talking about like for instance, how we let like Benjamin Netanyahu say, yo, look, we need to put all this money to a state-sponsored media campaign because he understands propaganda. But on the same devices, we allow our negative image to just be spewed all around the world to everybody. We let people exploit our negative image so much to where when I want to watch something black and ratchet, I turn on TV. Ain't that crazy? Like, I'll be like, let's watch the real Housewives because we know it's gonna be stank and drama filled, right? And so I'm like, how is that how the world is set up to I actually turn on the TV when I want to see stuff that you used to go to the hood and walk around the corner and see 2 chicks fight, and then you can walk back around to the house and get away from that environment. Now that is being fed to every American's living room. And now we see this new racist sentiment popping up with young Americans who's just outright saying racist shit, like your boy Nick Fuentes or whatever. Or even you could talk about the dude who just got assassinated if you wanted to go that route. But I'm just saying they all spewed these negative, outright just like, oh, the new hottest thing is to be a bold, outspoken racist.
Yeah.
And say and use tropes from the 1900s. Like he's getting 1 million views on YouTube talking about black people haven't contributed anything to civilization. Saying old stuff like that. And so, we need to
So like,
organize.
I don't know if you ever saw the debate. It actually wasn't a debate because Dr. Clark doesn't debate his lessers; he only teaches them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was him, Martin Bernal, who wrote Black Athena, debating Markowitz. It was two.
Mary Lefowitz show.
Yeah. You saw it then.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at information like that, I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Coakley, who goes real. You familiar with Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. When this type of information is still available, where's the push to put it out there, like make it go viral? Like, because the fact of the matter is the fact of the matter. We talk about the origins of African civilization, the origins of Kemet. The fact of the matter has already been established in debate form between their scholars and our scholars.
Yeah, they relinquished that conversation. Europeans relinquished. They lost, and we not doing our job after that. Like, for instance, I just keep giving examples of how people who have argued with the same type of conversation. For instance, take the history of the Hebrews, right? All of that is historically, I'm not talking about in actual life. I'm talking about in going over their history and erecting the language. I'm not saying the people who decided that they was these certain characters are actually those characters, but they went through a process of unearthing some lost history, bringing back the language, and now just look at their position in the world. They are literally bullying the whole world by just making some moves with historical documents and taking a position saying that there are certain historical characters. So if they could do this right now, and I'm talking about if somebody go to another YouTube channel, all the news is going to be about them and what they're doing in the world. You see what I'm saying? But what is the underlying premise to everything they're doing? That they are these particular historical characters, right, who are allotted to certain area, and they're going to bust a move on that based off some scholars re-earthing their history. So I'm like, right now, you can see the grandest importance of what could be done if everybody knew what was up. People would be like, man, we're going to get this popping.
Yeah, I see. You preach it to the choir, right? Because, I follow the understanding, one, that what's biblical history isn't real history.
Exactly.
Right. And that I can't say that word.
Iconography.
Thank you. You saved me just there. That, is meta-historical. Like, these are principles, just life principles, biological principles, how light manifests into physical form and how it returns to its origin, and the different symbols and interaction between internal entities and its connection to celestial entities. Like, these stories are just those anthropomorphic representation of divine powers. It's not a real history, but then you take the history and you put yourself in it as the God's chosen people, when you actually weren't even there when these stories were created. Like, you weren't even a thought of. Like you said, you go and you dig up somebody else's shit and you put yourself in it. But then even in the story, it actually tells us who you are. When you think of Japheth's great-grandson is Ashkenaz, who is predicted to live in the tents of Shem, dwell in the tents of Shem. Like, it tells us. So how they still get away with the lie is just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's the lie is right there. We know, we see what the lie is. We know who and what Semitic people are. And although, like, I had a problem with Ye when he was going in on black people and rocking the Confederate flag and what have you. But his stance on who the original Semites or who the Semitic people are and our relationship to it and who's not that, I agree with him.
Well, that's just a fact. It's a fact. You can hear plenty Israeli scholars say this. It's not if you know the material and you just go over the material. What can they say? That term, and I didn't mean to throw us on for a curve in the conversation this
No, it's
direction.
all good.
But that term right there is just a weaponized term. You know,
Semitic and anti-Semitic.
Yeah, is a way to weaponize a term so that you can get away with whatever. And then you take this bad thing that somebody's doing and say they're doing it. But yeah, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, the weaponization of words, everything from that to woke gets weaponized. What's your take on the word nigga?
That's a good question. It's a word that I picked up living in poverty in the hoods of Oakland, and I have not necessarily got it all the way up on my lexicon. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I feel mature, I don't catch myself using that type of language. But when I'm feeling endeared to another person from my culture, sometimes I feel myself using that type of language. And so I don't even think we worked out the whole mental side of using such language. There's no book about it, you know what I'm saying? And somebody needs to just write it all down, like what's going on with us when we cling to these expressions.
All right, so I said before we put out a song, Cause and Effect. It's on the first album. It was supposed to be the first single. We were hoping it to be the first single, but it didn't make it. Cause and Effect was us encouraging people not to use the word nigga and bitch.
Okay.
Right? And for like 10 years, you couldn't say nigga around me. If you said nigga around me, there was issues. We was in an argument. I'd have to debate you. We talk about just the word and its negative effects and all that shit. Bitch, oh my God, we was going at it. Right. Mm-hmm. So I came up on some information that etymologically speaking ties nigga back to negus, naga, necha, the all meaning light, God, something deific, something good, something positive. Wasn't necessarily the term for a group of people. However, the first word it said was the NG consonant sound, NG, consonant sound. Ancient Africans spoke in clicks. Some still do, speak in clicks. That guttural noise you make by the back of your tongue and your throat, that right? That was like one of the first words, and it got applied to like something deific, something perfect, something associated with light. In I think Vietnamese, Na, NG is light. Naga, the Serpent Kings. Negus, king. But the enemy takes it, flips it and bounces it, rearranges it, and gives it back to us in a negative form. And then we accept what they give. Like they do the same thing with the word woke. They do the same thing with everything they do is they take it and pervert it, make it their own and sell it back. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, hip hop, jazz, rock and roll, on and on and on.
I'm familiar with that breakdown, and I can't substantiate whether those terms are really etymologically linked, but I don't think they have to be in order for us to see what's going on. Like, I think this could very well be a case of what they call folk etymology. You know, like it sound like it, look like it, and it might as well be it, but it probably ain't it. But I can't say with any. I'm not trying to speak authoritatively. I'm just going off of what I know on the matter. Because when I looked into it, when they took it into the ancient Egyptian, a lot of the research was based on the work of E.A. Wallace Budge, but who had put a term in his own transliteration system into his dictionary that rendered a word that was close to nigga, right? But even if we drop out his vowels and we do if we go into the ancient Egyptian text corpus or a qualified ancient Egyptian dictionary and do a search of those consonants together, we won't find what we find in E.A. Wallace Budge's book. And so if we bar the use of it in Egypt, we understand it was used to say the kings of Ethiopia. And then we're dealing with an N, a G, and an S, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now if that happened by way of them accosting those Ethiopians, it could very well be fact. But it just seemed like a case of folk etymology, what seems to be true by association of those terms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see that. I know the word Taino wasn't the actual name of the people. It's what the Europeans understood because they associated with something. Was it gold? So they just called the people that.
That's
Like they take something that they relate to and then they call you that.
Well, see, now the fact that you just said it happened with gold in Taino, that we can go to the same areas we're talking about. The ancient Egyptian word for gold is Nup. But what you'll notice is there's no ancient Egyptian word Nubia. But if you take the ancient Egyptian root gold, Nup, and take a Greek suffix that means a place of, Ea, like Georgia, you get Nub-Ea.
Right.
And so this is one of their creations, the way they've seen it from their perspective, and then they forecast it back on us. I'm not saying those people in those areas of gold didn't exist, but they knew themselves as the Nahesi. And then it will survive today as the Nubians who call themselves the Mahasi. But you can see a M, a H, and an S. Ancient, it was NHS. And people know the M and the N over time take places of each other. So they still got their real name intact, but they're called the Mahasi Nubians because these other people who put the tag on you to explain things by their classifications. Now, you got to think Nubian is something that Taharka knew about.
I just want to for clarity's sake, on my part, excuse my ignorance. When you say the Mahasi, is that like saying the Maasai?
No, that's a different tribe.
It's a different tribe? Okay.
Because Maasai is Massi.
Right.
Mahasi is Mahesi, I think, or ASI.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But they're in the right around the Noba Hills, but they're not in the Noba Hills. They were a northern Sudan tribe who lived right in the areas of where the ancient Nahesi would live. And so just like Tahino when they did with gold, they did it with Nup and Nubia too, you know what I'm saying? And then they say, look, oh, you're the Nubians. And that term is simply weaponized to, if they find anything archaeologically with what they call the typical Negroid phenotype, they have a classification for it to separate it from being Egyptian. They say, oh, this is the Nubian finding. So even if they find it right inside the pyramid, they're gonna be like, oh, he looked back. Oh, this is a Nubian.
Yeah.
And we read the text, and those people wasn't calling themselves Nubians.
Yeah, it's weird how we always end up in their context. They get to contextualize it, they get to name it, they get to tell us what we are. We don't have the record of who we are through whether it's written or even familial. The familial line has been broken to such a degree that we don't have that connection to our ancestry.
Well, one thing that is just so good is that when we go back into the language, people hate me for saying this. We all of our elders told us that the ancient Egyptians were black. And then we know from our research that it was called the Black Land, but they put in all of this fake stuff and they fortified their lies with tons of books, and then they buried them in the libraries, right? And so now you feel what I'm saying? Now when we go to the library and every direction you look on a particular subject, it's explained, the lie is explained, then you think it's a truth. It's just a fortified lie. You know, it's fortified with thousands of books. And so we went into the Medu Neter and found out that the ancient Egyptians not only was black, but the same root of the term Kemet, which is Kim.
Yeah.
They used it like we use black, not like a social construct for race. That's not how they used it.
Okay.
They used it like Black Rob, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, these adjectives we use in the community to describe members who, if there's two members of a community with the same name, we use a dichotomy between colors. Like Black Rob don't even gotta be all the way black. He just gotta be darker than Light Rob or the other Rob. You see what I mean?
Growing up, I was White Hawk.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, Fat Hawk, White Hawk.
Yep. But there was another Hawk who was a little darker than you. So,
Right.
But the ancient Egyptians did that, and they would be like, Black Mike, what's up? Like, I'm just saying. So I mounted a complete argument that not only was the ancient Egyptians, they called themselves black. They over and over again, they always would be like, I'm black this, I'm black that.
What up, black?
Yeah, they'd be like, I'm Black Peppy, I'm black, I'm Black Asar. And it's crazy to me. Even when we go into the grammar of the ancient Egyptian, there's a scholar from Santa Cruz, or he's from Santa Cruz. His name is Daniel Selden. He says the only vernacular that matches the vernacular of the ancient Egyptian is AAVE, which is a new language group called African American Vernacular English. This is
hold that thought right fast. Hold that thought right fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, since I'm on, that's AAVE, African American Vernacular English, and they told us like that's the only thing that they got that line up with ancient Egyptian form of grammatical expression, where we place our verbs, nouns, and so have you. And one of his example, it was in the book called Egyptian Grammar. Yeah, okay. I just was building with the people.
I'm following.
Okay, in the book called Egyptian Grammar, his actual quote to say how black people talk the same way grammatically, how ancient Egyptians talk, he wrote, Marcus, my baby daddy. He was like, that is incorrect English, but that is perfectly proper ancient Egyptian because of the way that we stated certain things. I don't want to go too far on that and throw the show off.
No, I get it. It's like, so my wife's Dominican, right? And, you know, she has a Spanish, she thinks from a Spanish point of view. So sometimes she'll slip up and she'll phrase it how it would be said actually in Spanish. Now, don't get me to speak no Spanish because I'll play myself. However, I know that there's some cases where the way we use the noun and the verb and the progressive and all that is kind of backwards, kind of. So if she was to give us the exact English translation, it would seem backward. So it's the kind of the same thought process where in Egypt, they understand the relationship between things. Like even the way we use the double negative, I ain't going nowhere. Like that's a double negative. That's incorrect English, but somebody did a great job in breaking down how it actually makes total sense.
Yeah, and the ancient Egyptians would speak that way. Now, I haven't done a survey on double negatives, so you just gave me my next show. We're going to go over ancient Egyptian texts and look for double negatives. I mean, I just be loving doing nerdy shit like that. Yeah, but that, what you're saying right there is exactly what I'm talking about. For instance, so this is some things people don't trip about. We say we're human beings, right?
Yeah.
But when you dead, you ain't even a human being no more because the part of being is existing. To be is to exist. Mm-hmm. Now we got the state of, you could say the state of verb or the state of something. You exist in a state of something, right? So black people say, I be chilling. It's totally fine to say I exist in a state of coolness, right? Exactly. But the ancient Egyptians spoke that way using the same exact expressions. To say existence in ancient Egyptian, you're going to say when or Now, I'm not arguing that this is the proper pronunciation. Right. These are the scholastic pronunciations. Okay. You're going to say when, like W-E-N, or if you want to translate the W as a U, then you put a U in the end. Now, with this term, it's often stated this term means to exist. But they'll tell you, I'm existing like this right now. So they be basically, and we know to exist is to be, because that's why we're human beings. You know what I'm saying? And so they were literally saying, they got one that be like, I be chilling, bro. But it says the term is wab, is purification. It's purification for cooling. It's where we get baptism from. It is this purification from the wab priest, right? But guess what they would say? They would say, when e wab. That's I be chilling. And I'm like, dude, or I'll be pure, I'm purified. What you want to do? They even have a statement, bro. It's called Ma'akaru. Ma'a is the truth, and Karu is the voice. And I was like, we say that every day. We say real. The truth is real, and the voice is talk.
Yeah, real talk.
We say real talk. People say real talk whenever they want to give a confirmation to a statement somebody else said. Well, when an ancient Egyptian lived a righteous life and he died and he was endowed the ability to become a Asar, he was Ma'akaru. So when I went to every Egyptologist, and when we get to Ma'akaru, and I might be just in my head to see what they say, I might just translate it as real talk, and they'll be like, oh, he freaked that. Like, oh, he just freaked it a little bit. But basically what we were saying is it's not just the things that our elders seen on the outskirts before we had this technology they didn't have. All we using is the new technology the elders didn't have. They used to have to fly to get these books. We be pulling them up in 30 seconds so we could contribute to the conversation stuff that they couldn't even see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I appreciate this conversation, my G.
Word up.
We got to talk about Smash Rockwell, though.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, so what's up with Smash Rockwell? Talk about it.
I mean, well, you know, Smash Rockwell, really, I'm just going to say, after rocking out so long and doing my casual thing, I was like, man, they really need to see what I've been on lately. And this is about 2005, 2006, when I dropped Casual Presents Smash Rockwell, you know what I'm saying? And that's just a name I kind of picked up. My friends start calling me Smash. You know how words sounded like? And when y'all being cool with each other, it'd be like cash, cash, cash. Then somebody say smash, and then everybody, and then it just turned to smash. Right. Yeah. It happened like that. I added the Rockwell on some hip hop shit because that's how we do. And shout out to my man Prince Paul, because I think he was rocking a Rockwell at the time when I named myself Smash Rockwell. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. But it is what it is. So you know how we develop in stages as MCs? Okay. I kind of think the new me could kind of get with Smash right now. So I might bust out with a new moniker. I came with Rap God after Smash Rockwell, and Eminem took that, and then we had that little debunker. You know what I'm saying? But
no, I didn't know about. I didn't know about that. What was that about?
Oh, well, I just had to shoot him some bars real quick. And Cass was looking at me like I was crazy, like I don't even believe in myself. But you know when he did that Rap God song? Okay. 2 other rappers rapped on that beat, me and Papoose. And they both put them on Hip Hop DX. And 1 week later, mine was the only one still up there. That's not a slight to Papoose, but it was because I had something about an album I released previously called Rap God. He Think He Rap God, 2011. And so we on some hip hop, right? And when I heard Eminem rocking Rap God, a few obvious algorithmic questions come in a logical man's mind. The first one is, has he heard my version? Then you start thinking, what's the probability that he's heard your, you know what I'm saying? Like this hip hop, he could have, but he's so big that he probably hadn't. And then you start to thinking, well, what am I faced with as an artist? I just dropped an album called Rap God. I'm a battle rapper. I got fans who think I'm hella raw. I'm gonna just let this dude take Rap God. So I was like, no, I gotta do some hip hop shit. I gotta write my bars and let him know that I'm already calling myself Rap God. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you want to know what's hella funny? Cats around, you know that's Eminem now. So cats around me was hearing the decision I was making, and I wasn't even getting. It was like you was in the huddle, right? And you say, we about to run this play. And everybody goes, we gonna run that play? Like, oh my gosh, let's run another. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm telling you, we running this play, it's gonna work. Man, it was like cats was lightweight spook. Man, I dropped my shit. M didn't say nothing back, but he got inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got inducted in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, he mentioned my name amongst the MCs who inspired him.
Beautiful.
This is after I put out the song, so I know he did that communication. We don't talk, we don't shake, never shook hands.
Mm-hmm.
He communicated through the thing to say, bro, you tripping? I didn't even know, and I fucks with you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I took that as a badge of honor to my career that you could go look at Eminem at the Hip Hop Hall of Fame receive his award. And he say, I got the clip right here. I can show it. He say, casual of hieroglyphics. And I'll be like, damn. So when I think about ultimately standing on my square, I was rewarded for standing on my square, for fighting for my moniker, because the person I fought against mentioned my name when he received his award at the Hip Hop Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So Eminem, that's a crazy story. One, because of your legacy prior to Eminem. Can't take nothing away from Eminem as a lyricist. And I think his love for the craft, his love for hip hop. I do know that there's the Elvis effect.
But he ain't responsible for that, though.
No, at all. At all. He's not responsible for that. And I think that he invests a great deal into hip hop culture with Shade 45 and how he positions himself, even when you talk about how he shouted you out at the induction ceremony, something he didn't have to do. He did it because he respects the craft, respects the culture, respects your place in it. So there's a lot to be said positive about Eminem. Not his fault that the Elvis effect kicks in. Kind of goes back to what we were talking about before about us originating, us being the creative drive behind culture itself, in the ways in which it gets taken from us and then repackaged and sold back as something else. But Eminem himself has always kind of fought against that, understanding that as well. So let's address the story.
Just to be clear, he ain't rapping in Swahili. He ain't rapping in the Meta Nature. What I mean is, this is the King's English. And we took one of their tools and made an art with it, but it's still their tool. Meaning, if you listen to eloquent, it's these new fast-talking speakers on YouTube, and they sound like robots almost. They be like, because first of all, you probably grew up in a household that was that eloquent with the English. I'm not talking about Eminem in particular, but I'm just talking about these, giving an example of the eloquent speakers that's all over YouTube that seem like they smart because they got some application of the English language where they can talk hella fast, right? Like Candace Owens.
Candace Owens, I want to say Candace Owens.
Yeah. A perfect example of what I'm saying. The way she ordained, you know, and you be like, damn, she's so into it, she can bust it hella fast. It leads back to what we was talking about in the beginning of the show. They just mesmerizing people. But back to what we're talking about with M, the best thing I could have said is he's not rapping in Swahili. We are using the English language. He a white dude. You know, he probably even it's nothing. So I would not say that there's no reason why he shouldn't be as dope as he is, because he understood the Black culture. He respected the art. He seen the art, and he was raised in a dope place around real dopeness.
Yeah.
So you can turn out dope. You don't remember now? I know you, my man, Young Z. Shout out to the Outsiders.
That's family right there, bro.
I know that's family. I already know that's family. Tell him I said what's up. He hit me when he was out here with Lauryn Hill, just out the blue. He ain't hit me in like 10 years, and just hit me on the blue. So it was love. But what I was saying was, you know how much they contributed to Eminem.
Absolutely.
In his early stages, whether it was just influential or not, that was something that happened. And so if you're around dope people like the Outsiders, but you have the potential of having the Elvis effect. Think about it though. He was in the perfect position. He could go further than the Beastie Boys because they didn't even have bar work like that.
No, they were really a punk band who did rap because of their relationship with, whatever. But big shout out to the Beastie Boys, no doubt, very influential. Don't get it twisted. But unlike Eminem was really about them bars and lyrics and being accepted by the culture, embraced by the culture lyrically. He really tries to live up to that, even when sometimes lately, I don't know, crazy. But anyway, so I'm like, you can't take nothing away from it. I understand it, but he not talking to me. So it's hard for me to really embrace it. Like,
well, that's another reason why Elvis effect, because he came out speaking to all of the white kids.
Right.
Think about it. He was using black flows and all, but when he so now I can't let him all the way off the hook, because then why you wasn't rapping to black people? You was like, "Hi kids, do you want to try Sid?" You was not talking to little black kids.
No, not at all. No, that was marketing. See, it's time, place, because not any white rapper could have pulled that off. You got Third Base. You had who was before Eminem? Beastie Boys. You already said. Vanilla Ice.
Well, you're right.
Like time, place, association. He's running around with the Outsiders. He's really the white outsider.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Proof, no doubt. Rest in peace, Proof. Of course, Detroit hip hop has their own kind of influence that was very heavy on, and we don't want to discount that, but we know the relationship with the Outsiders.
You're right.
We know M's respect for Tretch.
But when I first heard Royce, after hearing Royce, see, I heard Eminem first, and it was a mystery. How did he get so good? You feel me? Like me, this is my MC mystique of Eminem. When I heard him, I'm like, this is weird. Like, how did he get that good? You know, when somebody's that raw, you be wondering who's that master MC behind them. Then when I heard Royce, I was like, oh, okay. They be throwing rhymes off that. No wonder how he's so raw. I gave Royce the credit for bringing Eminem along and doing this black stuff right, basically.
Right, but it's also the black stuff, but it's also giving the white folks what they want, because it's still got to resonate with black people. Even though it's not a barbecue song. He ain't playing no Eminem at the barbecues. Ain't no functions. Are you playing Eminem? You're not gonna get a half-hour Eminem at no black function.
But bro,
we was impressed enough to go, he's the real deal.
Do you remember that convention? I don't know if it was the Scribble Jam. It was something like that, areas of the Midwest that was big in the 90s. Was it Scribble Jam?
Yeah.
I think at one of those, we met Eminem before he came out, before he met Dre and everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And he gave us this tape. And weirdly enough, oddly enough, it was just like our blue tape. Remember the Souls of Mr. Blue tape that was running around in the 90s?
Yeah.
Well, whether you remember it or not, Jive had put our first singles on a blue cassette, and it was given out That's When You Lost and stuff. Eminem had one, and he gave it to A+. Just a young white dude. He did not know who he was. And we hopped in the van ready to hit our next show, and Plea was like, this dude gave me a CD. Bruh, when we popped that CD in, that motherfucker was spitting. So, and he was already rapping to white kids. He wasn't, so it wasn't like marketing from Interscope.
Okay.
It was he already had that song. My name is
Really?
It was just raw, like a demo version.
Okay.
You feel me? And so something told him, even though I'm doing all this black shit, when I write my first song or two, I'm gonna be talking to white people.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant. Yeah, now his brilliance is undeniable. It's just that when we get to the meat, you know what I mean, the meat and potatoes of the hip hop shit, top 10. I don't know about that. I go there with it like jokers want to put him 1, 5. I'd be like,
Oh well, it depends on how what that list is. Is that a technical list? Is it just a greatness list? Like, is it a nerd rap class list? You feel me? Because if it's a nerd rap class list, he might get on there. Like, if this list is at Harvard and you're talking about the technical principles of putting rhymes in between the bars and measures.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
But if it's like touching your soul, if it's like a black church, he won't be on the top list at all because he didn't necessarily touch people's soul, and that's what we think the music's supposed to do.
Now that's a whole other conversation about why there's no soul in the music anymore.
Well, I mean, I got like 10 more minutes, so my wife just came home, so we can build on whatever you use.
Okay. Now I want to finish because you got a YouTube channel, Smash Rockwell. And you just invited to interview me, so I'm assuming that it's gonna be on Smash Rockwell. No?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get you on there.
Yeah,
but I might have to grab some of your old books, and we do sources and stuff like we be trying to get it in. I'm not joking. I'm joking with you. Don't have to do anything, but I'm letting you know the climate on the show. We even have this thing where people come on my show and challenge me. They be like, "Do you want to get in the dojo?" And then when I smash them up in the dojo with the facts, they be acting all sensitive.
Wow.
I'll just play.
I'm pretty sure we're going to agree on most things. And when I'm out of my league, I ain't afraid to go. I'm out of my league. I don't know about that. I'm always willing to learn and soak up information.
I'm Joshing and being jovially and humbly said, we just do, it's your show. I'll be featuring you. And so you going to, it ain't like, it ain't no hot seats. I don't do hot seats.
Yeah, salute. Yeah. Nah, man, well, shit. Anything else you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
Man, I mean, I know we crossed paths before, but we never got to build like this in maybe 20, 30 years in hip hop. So I just want you to know this is an honor for me to be able to just build with you now. I got you online and we make sure you lock me in.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
If anything come up pertaining to independent, how to do anything, for independent music, I'm right online. We hook up tours, we do the merch, we do everything. Nice. We got all the Rolodex full of people, as well as anything come up with the black information pertaining to Egypt and somebody want to read the glyph, you got me right in your phone. And if anybody want to call my bluff and say he full of F, you just put it on the screen and we'll show them what we do. And I'm here to be your humble servant. You know how we do.
I can't even front, bro. I'm an MC, and I really would like to spit something for you. While I got your attention.
Word up.
Yeah. So let's get straight to the fact. Egypt is really Cam, and Cam means black. But what's right and exact is what most niggas lack. The ancestors called us king. Ingu was the word for that. Inga is my queen. If you don't know what I mean, check the Kebra Nagas, which is the book of kings. But niggas don't study, they get caught up in the drama like snakes in the grass, my nigga. I don't mean naga. Check the saga. I bring you holy mana. The sun rises in the east, which wakes the holy prana. So let me pause like the comma. Check that nigga's dharma. What goes around comes around. Check that nigga's karma. Now, if you don't get the point, here's some more, my nigga. He's from the gods and earths, and he's a more, my nigga. My nigga Nigel comes from Niger. I call Nigel my nigga. People get hyper. I'm like the last poets because I love my niggas. Who would ever thought the president would be my nigga? What goes around comes around. Time always tells. Words cast spells to dispel mental hell. Looking through the vision of another man's sight. See God in yourself, my nigga. It's all right. Just rise from the lower, plant seeds for the sower. If Jigga is my nigga, how could he be Jehovah? Jehovah's really Yahuwah, or you could say Yahoo. Now who's the real G? Not the male, you fools. Words are just tools. Now who weighs and measures my niggas flipping words in a quest for earthly treasures? It's all mathematics, so we say my nigga is more right and exact, plus got swag and flavor. Since power's in the word, the Lord said name it. We named ourselves niggas, now niggas don't want to claim it. I paint the picture, frame it, we let the devil shame. A people with no name is a people with no aim. With no land to claim, my struggle goes in vain, but my niggas fight over words that's inflicted so much pain. I want to say my nigga said refrain around white people because they don't understand the pain. My naga heals the venom and makes the serpent tame. The resurrected niggas on the throne set the reign.
Oh, my man. Hey, so you recorded that nigga song then?
Yeah, it's recorded. It's recorded.
NGS?
Well, I did it with Young Guru, but to be honest with you, I like it better as a spoken word piece than I do over a track.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. You feel me?
Nigga.
All right, so let me let people know. It's Smash Rockwell on YouTube. It's Casual Rap God on Instagram. I told y'all they turn words around, so if I ask y'all to support me, y'all gonna think I need something. But I'm man enough to say support me, man. Stop punking out. Go on and click on that Smash Rock channel, like the channel, and come on the Instagram if you will, if you're interested in my dialogue, and follow me. And I'd appreciate that. You just contributed social currency, and that has value right now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yo, it's been a pleasure and honor. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to join me on the Hakeem Green Show. Make sure y'all tap in the Casual Rap God.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man.
You already know, my brother. Looking forward. Salute.
Peace.